one of our inspirational songs while we wait on people to join.
All right. Good afternoon, Eagles, HGC Northeast Eagles at that. I would like to welcome you all to our Northeast Town Hall virtual meeting. We know we're doing it a little differently this year. Before COVID, we did this in person with our students, our staff, our faculty, our SGA, and it was a thing of camaraderie where we all came together as Northeast family. And we're coming together right now as Northeast family, just in our own homes, and we're doing it virtually. My name is Ashley Rhodes Watkins. I am the Student Life Coordinator for the Northeast College. I am also the Student Government Advisor for the Northeast College. I would like to welcome you all, and I would like to pass over for them to introduce themselves, the SGA who is here with you all today, who is also helping making this happen. I would like to pass the mic over to Mr. Martin, who is our SGA Vice President, just to bring welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Martin Uvala. I'm the Vice President for Northeast Campus, and I would like to welcome you all here. Thank you very much. I would like to pass the mic to Ms. Natasha, who's also our Student Life Coordinator and SGA.
Hello, everybody. I'm Natasha McLean-Bama-Chevy. I'm one of the co-advisors for the SGA, and welcome, everybody.
Ms. Jackie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie, and I am the parliamentarian for the Northeast College. And welcome to our meeting of today.
All right, HGC Eagles, I would like to introduce to you our Northeast College president, our biggest cheerleader, your person who was going to bat for you as our president, making sure all of our students are welcome, that they have all the resources. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you today our college president, the best in the HGC system, Dr. Monique Umphrey.
So hello, each and every one of our students. As I thought about this opportunity to sit in front of you today, of course, I would love it if we were face to face, but oftentimes when let's go back to when we were able to sit in front of each other. I would like for these type of sessions to be more interactive. I don't like to talk to you. I like to use these as a two-way communication forum. So instead of me speaking at you, I would like for this to be an opportunity for us to share information. So I want to use today as an opportunity for me to learn from you. I want to hear from you. I want to share some things with you, but I definitely want to hear more from you today. So as we start off today, first of all, I want to tell each one of you, it's been a while since I've been able to see you all. I've been thinking about you, praying for you, lifting you all up in prayer. We have gone through so much collectively. When I think about each one of you, first of all, let me say that each one of you is amazing. I see myself in so many of you. When I think about our students, when I think about you, so for so many of us, I hope you can relate to what I'm about to say. I'm going to share some things about myself. When I was your age, when I was going through college, very often people would look at me and probably underestimate me. I'm just going to be honest. They would look at me and write me off because I didn't look like what they thought a successful college student would look like, or I didn't look like what they thought an engineering student would look like. I was an engineering student as an undergraduate, but you know what? That's okay. Throughout my life and throughout my college career, I was able to connect with some people who inspired me, who connected me with resources, and I learned a couple of things. And some of those things I want to share with you today. One of those things was that when I first started college, I was under the impression that college was about getting the skills that you needed to get a job. And so one of the things that I learned is, yes, you complete the courses that you need to get a degree. But the interesting thing about it is that's not all that college is about. you get those, you complete those courses, but college is really about, it's much more than just classes. College is also about connections and networks. You meet people during your college career that are instrumental in your journey. One thing I want to do today, as we get to the two-way part of the communication, I want to hear from you. I want to hear about your dreams, your aspirations, and your goals, because as I hear about what you want to do, it's important for me that we connect you, because there may be somebody out there that wants to start a business, but guess what? Part of your journey is connecting with the people that are instrumental for you reaching your goals. And so when I mentioned the transformational part of education, um, it is those connections. And so you will meet people, part of those people you'll meet here at HCC. And so when, as I mentioned, when I was in college, there were people who inspired me, who helped me to see things in myself that I didn't see. I didn't start off as a person who was, I didn't have all the leadership skills that I have today. Part of those were developed in college. Part of those, a lot of those leadership skills were developed in college, actually. I signed up for a lot of college clubs. I signed up for student government. I signed up for our college NAACP. I signed up for a sorority. I signed up we created two different clubs. And through those experiences, I learned to work with people. I learned how to organize and plan. I learned how to lead events. But also in there, I learned about different things that I care deeply about. I learned about certain injustices that I wasn't aware of. And I also learned about different authors. I became introduced to authors like James Baldwin. When I was introduced to James Baldwin, and if you haven't been introduced to James Baldwin, and if I'm just sharing that name with you today, I encourage you to learn about him and read his work. When I first read The Fire Next Time, I'll tell you, it changed my life. The opening chapter, when I read those words that, when he shared, and there's a quote, and I'm going to attempt to share my screen, and I hope that we don't have any technical hiccups here. Hopefully you can see the quote.
We can see it.
You can see the quote? Okay. He shared, "This innocent country set you down in a ghetto in which, in fact, it intended that you should perish. You were not intended to aspire to excellence. You were expected to make peace with mediocrity." And I realized, that spoke to me. It spoke to the professors I had that looked over me, that ignored me, that had low expectations for me. And hopefully that hasn't been your experience earlier in your life. I know that hasn't been your experience at HCC. But what I realized then is I'd had some teachers earlier in my career, not all, I had some excellent teachers. I had some teachers who really encouraged me. But I had some who had low expectations for me. But those people who had the low expectations, I would say that their attitude towards me was tolerance. And when you're tolerated, when you're being tolerated, it's a totally different feeling. And when you feel that you're being tolerated, that's that feeling almost as if you're being ignored, or you feel like people are just trying to hurry up and rush you out of the way. And I never wanted anyone else to feel that way. And so when I became an educator, it was important to me to really study what it takes to create an environment where students don't feel tolerated. But how do we create the environment where students feel celebrated? Because when you feel celebrated, that's the place where you can flourish. So it's been very important for me when I started off as an executive director, then a dean, then a vice president, then a president, that we were always creating that sense of belonging so that every student could understand when they walked in the doors, this is the place where you belong. This is the place where you belong. This is the place where you find your crowd. This is the place where you find your tribe. This is the place where you find people who are excited when you walk through the door. And this is the place where we have high expectations for you. This is the place where we are excited to hear about your dreams. That we are excited not only to hear about your dreams, but to help you connect with resources so we can help you find your wings so you can flourish and fly. And we know it's been a rough year, we get it. But we are here to help you reach every dream that you've ever had. So I just wanted to start off with that. Like I said, I know everybody's got a different story. Everyone has a unique story, but I just wanted to share with you some of the things about my background that, it's possible that we may share some things in common, but I wanted you to understand what drives me and why I am so passionate about making sure that you have the things that you need so that you can flourish. It's critical to me. I want to see you flourish. I want to see you fly. I want to see so many people become more successful than their wildest dreams. I hope that the dreams you have right now are not big enough to contain all of the things that you want to do in your life. So I'll stop sharing that one. Also, there are some things that I wanted to talk about today. Um, as we think about what we've been through over the last year, it's really important for us to take an assessment. Sometimes we get so busy and it can be overwhelming when you really think about what we've been through. It's in one way you could say it's collective trauma. You know, we have dealt with so much, and in some ways it's collective grief. Many of us have lost family members and friends. But at the same time, we're still here. And we have to celebrate the fact that we are resilient and we're here and we're together. And so we're going to collectively encourage each other and motivate each other and inspire each other. I learn from you every day. I learn from our administrators. And hopefully we learn from each other and we'll continue to inspire and encourage each other. One thing I'd love to do right now, I want to hear from you. So one thing I'd like to know, I'd like to hear from you all and know how many of you, of our students are working. So if you're working, if you could share in the chat, uh, how many hours a week do you work? I'd like to hear that on average, just an average. If you could share that in the chat, it would help me to get a better feel for if you're working, how many hours a week you work. And if you don't work, that's fine. Just say no, not working. I'd like to get a feel for how many of our students are working. This is just my informal science. Okay. If you're comfortable, okay. 30, 35 hours, not working. Okay. 40 hours a week. 25 hours, okay. Okay. All the students that are comfortable sharing, that will be helpful for me. Okay. And the reason I'm sharing this is because, and you already know this, I'm not sharing anything with you that you don't know. When people in society share an image of a college student, they typically share this image of students gone wild on spring break and their parents sending them they share this image of a trust fund baby. The person that's living in the dorm, they have no cares in the world. Their parents are paying for college and they're sending them money and they're just, they don't have any cares at all. They're just off having fun and they're, living off their parents' money. But that's not our average student. And actually, that's not America's average college student. Many of our students are working at least part-time, if not full-time. Many of them are parents. So I want to hear from our students on what our reality is. And then I'd also like to know, if you are a parent, if you could share, if you have children, if you're comfortable sharing that, and if not, that's fine. And then also, I'd like to know if you're comfortable sharing if you have siblings or not. especially, and if you're comfortable, this is just anecdotal, birth order. If you have siblings, oldest, middle child, somewhere in the middle, or youngest child. This is helpful as well. Again, as we talk about what our real students are dealing with, okay, siblings. And I'm sharing this because oftentimes we get so caught up in our average day that you don't think about your reality. It just is normal for you. But I want you to realize that as you go to work every day and you clock in those hours, your coworkers know that you're in school. Your siblings know you're in school. Your kids know you're in school. And guess what? You're a role model. You are a role model for a lot of people. And if you don't know you're amazing, I'm here to remind you today that you are amazing. And you're especially amazing when you think about the fact that you've been able to persevere in the midst of a pandemic. You're doing all of this in the middle of a pandemic. You're holding it down in the middle of a pandemic. And guess what? If you had a crying spell, that's normal in the middle of a pandemic. If you had a breakdown and wanted to give up and quit, that's normal in the middle of a pandemic. If you wanted to give up, that's normal in the middle of a pandemic, because guess what? You're still here. I'm here to say whatever you felt is probably normal in the middle of a pandemic. We don't talk enough about the range of emotions that people are feeling right now. I think it's really important that we normalize the range of emotions that people are feeling, especially when you're juggling so much. Everyone is juggling a lot right now, and we're trying to juggle it. I think the tendency is to for everybody to say, you know what, I don't want to appear ungrateful because I know people who have lost more. I know people who have died. I know people who, whatever. I know that's my first reaction. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge whatever you're feeling you're having is real. And sometimes you need to stop and work through whatever that feeling is and process it. Because when you don't process it, you suppress it. And guess what? You can only suppress for so long. It will come out. It's like a trash can. You can keep stuffing stuff down. Have you ever tried not to empty the trash because you don't have time? You can keep stuff in that trash can, but eventually you're going to have to empty the trash. And so that's what it is to process your feelings. So I'm sharing all of that. It's a long way of going around to say, I am so proud of each and every one of you for hanging in here, for doing the work, for pursuing your dreams, and just for doing the work and hanging in here in the middle of one of probably the hardest years that any college students have had to endure. We know that this is the first time we've had to deal with this in 100 years. So you unfortunately, or fortunately, actually, I'm going to say fortunately, you have the esteemed privilege of saying out of any college students in the last 100 years that you will graduate and say that you did it in a pandemic. And why is that? I'm going to share another screen and share this with you. We are living in a world. Can you see this one? The volatile, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity.
We can see it. I don't know if there's anything past demands because we can't see past that. Is that okay? Yes, we can see it.
Okay. This is the world that we're living in right now. They call it VUCA. This is the reality of the world we're living in. It's constantly changing. So if you feel sometimes like the ground is shifting under your feet and you feel like everything is changing and you want stuff to go back to normal and you're just tired of everything changing, you're feeling that way because it is. And the pace of change, it's not just that things are changing, it's that the pace of change is increasing. Before 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when people graduated from college, the advice they used to give people was every 10 years, you need to go back and update your skills. Now they're telling people you need to update your skills once a year, once a year, once a year. Let me say that again, once a year. So this concept of lifelong learning is real. The students that just graduated from college 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they are the same ones looking for jobs with the people that just graduated a year ago. There's no such thing as you graduated and you don't have to worry about your skills anymore. The I just went through an update with the Greater Houston Partnership, and talking to one of the deans, and he was sharing with me that when they shared the unemployment numbers, they shared that there was no distinction between white collar, blue collar, and no collar. Now you process that. And I attended the South by Southwest conference over spring break, and they talked about the trends, the future of work trends. And the one thing that they said is the pace of change is so quick now that you can no longer predict how quickly things will come. All you can do is prepare. And for some people, it's mind blowing. So I'm not saying it to overwhelm you or to scare you. It's not to be scared at all. It's to know that it's shifting. So I'm sharing this from the purpose that there's no one out there that can know everything or be prepared for all of these changes. What I am telling you is that you are uniquely prepared to and poised, be coming through this pandemic to respond in a way. You are being conditioned to be ready for this next generation with the future of work, because you are being conditioned for this VUCA world. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the pandemic is preparing you for this complexity, the frequency of change. So one of the things that we can think about with this shift is that the one thing that you need to think about historically, when I was growing up, they talked a lot about your IQ, and that's your cognitive ability. That's what you're born with. That's, what you have cognitively to deal with. That's what's measured by IQ test. And then over the last 10 years, they talked a lot about your EQ, your emotional intelligence, how you interact with others, your self-awareness, your empathy, your social skills. All of that is important. But now more than ever, it's your AQ, your adaptability quotient. Now more than ever, your adaptability quotient is what is going to carry you for the next 5 years because of the VUCA world. And so you are the generation that is most poised to flourish in this society. Some of the previous generations cannot handle this pace of change. And so it's not about age. Let me be clear on that. When I talk about generations, it's not about age, it's about mindsets. But some people are so adamant about wanting their old lives back that they are not open to new ways of thinking. And so my encouragement to you right now is, instead of getting overwhelmed, lean into it. If you think about, if you're playing a driving game, or if you just like to drive and you love speed, if you're going around, if you're about to go into a corner, if you're doing a racing game, what do you do when you're driving into a corner? You have to lean into that corner. So that's my encouragement to you right now. We're about to go into a lot of corners. And so you're going to have to learn to adapt to all of the change that's coming. It's not going to decrease. Actually, the pace of change is going to continue to increase. I know that's mind-boggling. But with technology, the technology is not going away. Actually, the So my background is technology. As you know, I think I've shared with you all, I started off as a software developer, but there was a rule called Moore's Law that was introduced in the late 60s. And the concept was that every 2 years, the computing capacity would double. So that came out in the late 60s. So every 2 years, the computing capacity would double. And what that would mean was the chips would get smaller. And that theorem worked for 50 years, but around 2017, the technology developed at such a pace that we broke that theorem. It was no longer 2 years. It became shorter and shorter. Why is that significant? Because that's why we're feeling this pace of change at such a rapid pace. Technology is now able to grow at such a rapid pace that the hardware and software, we're making such rapid changes that most people can't train quickly enough to adapt to the hardware and software changes. So I don't know if you're familiar with machine learning or how familiar you are. You probably have heard the terms artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing. All of those things are changing the way we live, work, and play. They're behind the things like chatbots, artificial intelligence. You've heard of Siri and Alexa and all those things, but those are the technologies behind them. One thing that I'll tell you that's pivotal, the technology that's behind them, for instance, machine learning is what drives the artificial intelligence behind the chatbots. When machine learning first came out, it took them 20 months or 2 years to develop a machine learning prototype. Now they've gotten that down to 2 months. Nobody would have ever believed that. When I heard that last week, it absolutely blew my mind because I've been on the teams where we built machine learning prototypes. So to see that type of change, and who knows what they will do in the next 6 months. That's something they've done in the last 4 months. So I'm just giving that as an example. If they're able to make that change. So here's just another example. When I was in Ohio, they opened a plant, and the reason this plant opening was such a big, it was noteworthy, was because when they opened it, they had to bring lights in for the plant opening. You may ask why that's interesting. They bought lights in because the plant was built with no lights. Process that. The plant was built with no lights because there were no humans in the plant. It was built with robots. Robots don't need lights because robots don't see with eyes. Okay, process that. Okay, cost savings. Robots don't need time off. Robots don't need vacation requests. Robots don't need downtime. Robots don't need Fridays off. Process all that. I'll let you catch up with me. The world is changing as we speak. We can all wish for a different time. I'm not saying that there's a wrong or right way to do things. I'm saying that the world is not waiting on us to say we like it or we don't. I'm saying we have to figure out where we fit in with the world that's shifting. And it's important for me that each one of you finds your place. Each one of you was born with a unique purpose. You were born because there's something unique that only you can bring to the world. I need you to figure out exactly what that is and to do it with excellence because the world needs that thing pushed out into the world and done with excellence. It's also important to me that as all this technology goes out into the world, there is an absence of ethics with all this technology. We need people who care about humans, who care about how things are being developed, who care that things are being done to humans with integrity. We need people to make good decisions. Everything is not about technology, but I need people out there making good decisions. I need people, I need each one of you positioned in the world to make good decisions about the rest of the world. I need each one of you positioned so that you can change your community. Each one of you should be positioned where you can change your family tree, where you can change your family. If you're the first in your family to go to college, you should change your family tree. If you're the first in your community to go to college, you should change your street, your zip code. Whatever you're the first to do it with excellence. Change your, be the ripple in your pond. Because as you change your pond, your street, yours, if you're the first one on your street, then your friends around you ripple out and you ripple out and it becomes a bigger ripple. Next thing you know, your zip code has changed. Then Acres Homes is changed. Then Northline has changed. Then Northeast Houston has changed. Then Houston has changed. Then Texas has changed. Then the US has changed. One of my favorite quotes is by Margaret Mead. Nothing amazing has ever been, anything amazing started with 3 or 4 people believing that they could change the world. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of the quote. So I said I wasn't going to talk a lot. I wanted to open it up to questions. The first question that I have for you that I would like to hear from you all, I want to flip it. I would like for you all to ask me questions, but the first question I have for you all that I would like for you all to answer is, what barriers do you have, or what is it that barriers do you have that you need my help, or that you need Northeast to help you with to become more successful? What could we do to help you be more successful? I'd like to hear from you, either by chat or talking. Or
yes. Students, you can unmute yourselves. Like she said, it's a back and forth. It's nothing just formal, and that's usually how it is. We don't usually do this real formal, but if you have questions, please unmute yourselves and please ask Dr. Umphrey. And don't be shy. If you're shy, you can actually put it in the chat if you want to. If you don't want to unmute yourselves or turn your camera on, feel free to actually put it in the chat. And then also, she's asking a question. If you have a question, unmute yourself and definitely ask it. It is your experience. It is your journey here. So we want to make sure we get all of the feedback. Well, Dr. Umphrey, if they don't, I had some questions that were emailed to me from some of maybe the student leaders who could not be here today. And one of the students, I'm pulling it up, is asking, with the announcement from the governor and how we're adjusting to COVID now with the restrictions, how is it going to be impacting like Northeast, like our procedures, our policies? How are we handling that at Northeast with the mask mandate now kind of gone?
Well, HCC has not rescinded our mask mandate. We are still requiring masks on campus, so that has not changed. So
Okay.
we continue to require masks on campus.
Okay. Another question was about classes, that they have sent out emails about some of the flex campuses, the flex classes, and how it's going to work. They wanted to know for the future going forward for the fall, will classes be back on campus, or will we be still in the same type of environment that we're in now? Have they talked about it?
We've talked about it. We have heard the students, many students have expressed a desire for more face-to-face classes. We're doing our best to accommodate that. Again, trying to accommodate the CDC guidelines. The CDC has, for higher ed, we still have to accommodate the spacing guidelines. So trying to accommodate as many students in a face-to-face environment, but yet meeting the space social distancing requirements as well. Mm-hmm. So we will try to accommodate as many students in a face-to-face environment as we can, and balance that with the number of faculty that we have. Okay. So we're trying to accommodate as many as we can.
And students, if you got some questions that popped up in your head, please do. I'm just going through the ones that were sent to me by students who couldn't be here today, but wanted them answered. Another question is just based on some feedback that they, because we have so many students who are in these Facebook groups, they're supporting each other. And so they're asking questions back and forth. And one student said that it came up with students struggling in this virtual environment. What are the resources that are available to them right now at Northeast? Not just all over, but what's available for them at Northeast?
Well, we have our virtual lobbies via student services. We have in-person appointments for student services. We have student study spaces that students can request on campuses at Northline. We also have an augmented number of technology support available. So Next Learning, that has been, we've put a considerable amount of resources available for that. So with that, students, if they need a laptop, if they need to check out a laptop, if they need, some students may not need a laptop, they may need a hotspot. So depending on what they need to go to the library and request the device that they need. And so we can work with them to make sure that they get the device that they need to help them with any type of technology that they need as well.
Perfect. We got a question here in the chat. I know this one probably is directed towards me. How may I acquire funds for my club? Miss Eileen, you actually can contact me. I'm going to send you my information. We do have funds available. Even though we are in this virtual world, we never stopped in student life. We have funds available for your club to get it off the ground, to do virtual programs. So I'm going to send you my information in the chat. And then after this, you can kind of contact me and then we can get together. Another question, some of the students are asking, when will the Northeast offer business classes?
I would assume that those are already on the schedule. I'm assuming maybe, I'm digging maybe a little bit deeper into the question, maybe more business classes. Is that the question? Because I'm assuming there are
more business classes, yeah.
So we can look, maybe if they could provide a little more detail into what type of business classes. Is it special, is it accounting? Is it, if they could provide a little more detail on what they want, and I could provide that information to the dean so we could ask for more specific classes.
Okay, sure will. We got they came through with some more questions. Hold on. Some students were asking, they know that right now Northline is open to come and ask for financial aid and talk to advising and admissions. Or will other campuses be open in the other areas of the Northeast or the Acres Homes or the North Forest area?
Right now, we're trying to stagger the hours, trying to balance the in-person and the virtual lobbies. So again, trying to balance the in-person coverage. Most of the, unless the students express a need for more in-person, most of, when we offered in-person hours at the other locations, students were not taking advantage of it. So that's why we concentrated it at one location. But if we see a need, if students share that, we could go back to increased hours, but let us know. It's really based on student demand.
And so this is just one of my questions that if you can let the students know, you've been here 2 years going in May, is that right? 2 years in May, right? And then brought us a whole full circle, knew a lot of stuff. Yeah. But what I want to know, like, what is your vision and what do you see for the Northeast College? As before, when we've talked and I've talked to people, we have people think, oh, Northeast, redheaded stepchild, no. We're Northeast the Beast. And as being the Northeast the Beast president, where do you see us going in the next 2 to 3 years and building on this whole legacy that we're trying to build in the Northeast area?
The first thing that's important to me is for us.
Hold on, okay. I got it. There you go.
The first and foremost, I'm really want us to leverage the momentum that we've built with our hospitality And I want everyone across the district to understand that this is the place where everyone belongs. This is where people come, the welcome home feel. Northeast is where you come and you know that you belong. So that's first and foremost. Northeast is where you go to find your tribe and you go to flourish. That's first and foremost. But then on top of that, once you feel that sense of belonging, then you spread your wings and you find your purpose, and then you start to flourish and you fly. So with that, I don't expect everybody to be a STEM person, but I definitely want us to build on our STEM offerings. That is critical because, again, everybody is not going to be a STEM person, but STEM is foundational to a lot of these things with the future of work. So as we see almost, when you look at the new jobs that are being created, 70% of them have a digital component. So it's really important that people have digital skills. So digital components are being built into a lot of these new jobs. And it's really important that we at Northeast offer upskilling opportunities for people. So as they're looking at new job opportunities and degrees and certifications, that we provide people with a place where they can earn degrees and certifications that provide a family sustaining wage and preparing them for the future. But also, we're not preparing them for the jobs of yesterday, but we're preparing them for the future. That's critical for me.
It's funny you say that. Speaking with a student in another organization, he was speaking to me, and he is an older student, an older gentleman. He says, COVID happened and I was laid off, and trying to go back and find a job into the work and then the work world. I found out I needed to update and spruce up my skills and my certifications. And he was saying, I've been on this job for 20 years and coming back into the work world, I didn't have this. And so now he's back in school getting all this new knowledge, this education. And he just said this to me last week. So what you were saying, like now we're educating for the future. We're teaching you for the future. What's going to be out there, not now, but what's going to be out there 2 years, 3 years down the road. And it's funny because you say this, I just spoke to this student and I said, wow, he's like, I'm coming back. I need to spruce up, educate, and get all around this new information that's coming in.
People cannot afford to stay. It is a sacrifice for people to go back to school and sacrifice and take time to take these classes, whether it's a certification or a degree. They cannot afford to sacrifice and do that for something that's not going to lead to a well-paying career, period. And so if they're going to take the time to do this, it needs to be leading towards something. So it's critical to me that the things that we're offering are cutting edge and are really connecting people to the things that are going to help them thrive. And so that's really critical and important to me. So two of the things, just short term, as an example, we're going to be offering summer coding camp for young women at the North Forest campus this summer. Really excited about that. And then we're going to be creating an innovation hub at the Acres Home campus. So, using that very concept that we're talking about, creating that upskilling center, think about some of the things that you do at the West Houston Institute. We're going to bring some of those concepts to the Acres Home Center and allowing people to do all those things, robotics, AR, VR, and upskill and learning how to do some of those cutting edge things at Acres Homes. So those are the type of things I'm talking about, that fresh energy, that excitement, helping people get the skills that they need to be competitive now. Those are the type of things that people will be able to do at Northeast.
That's the word. That is the word I think everybody needed to hear. And students, please unmute yourselves. If you have questions and want to throw something out there, please do so. This is, not very formal.
Yes. I have a question, Ashley. This is in regards to the library and the virtual lab. I would like to know if we're going to be opening soon, so people could come in and have more, more activities in the virtual lab. I know I was there twice, sometime last year when we were still open, so yeah, I would like to know if we're going to be back.
So the college,
soon.
Okay, so the college has not opened the district libraries, but we do have designated study spaces. So different things.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Dr. Humphrey, I have a question as well.
Okay, but I was going to say we will let everyone know, and we'll publicize once the college decides to open up the district libraries. Once those officially open, we will share that communication when those will officially reopen.
Thank you, Dr. Humphrey.
Dr. Humphrey, if face-to-face classes were to be back, will you have us to do the COVID survey as we did all the time?
Are you asking me, will we do the COVID survey?
Is it the
Yeah,
QR code, the one that we get scanned? The students have to come in to get scanned? Jackie?
Well, anytime you come on campus, period, there's an app that you have to, or COVID questionnaire that you have to fill out each day before you come on campus. That's different from the survey.
yes, because before our chancellor announced that there was not going to be face-to-face after spring break, my physics professor told me that if we were to fill this COVID questionnaire, that we will receive a 0 for the lab for that day because we basically missed this class. But I don't know what can you say in that perspective, because we found it kind of rude, because it's, I mean, you don't want to lie in a questionnaire, you don't want to risk anybody's life, but he didn't see it that way.
Well, again, if it's a face-to-face class, we want safety is critical. So it's reliant on the honor system, and I don't want anyone to put anyone else in jeopardy. And that's why we went to remote classes, trying to keep everyone safe. But if you are in a face-to-face environment, it's still critical that we keep the honor system in place and only come if you're well. And so we're relying on faculty members to honor that and not punish students for telling the truth, and provide alternate arrangements for the students that are not feeling well for attendance in those situations.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any students? Feel free.
And thank you for the questions. I'm also curious if there have been any instructors that you have, any favorite instructors that you had, or instructors that have been supportive during this time. I always like to catch people doing well. So if you've had any instructors or staff or administrators, student services, anybody that's helped you during this time, I'd love to hear that as well. Two-way dialogue.
Oh yeah, I have an instructor that's been great. Currently, my programming class for Python, Miss Dahlia, she's been really impressive. She tries to make us understand. She takes it slowly to kind of explain, ask questions. She kind of makes it very interactive. And also, she sent us this mail for Computer Science Association, and they have like good speakers, that give orange. So she's been great.
That warms my heart. Good. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. And what was are you comfortable sharing your name?
Yeah, Martin Ubala. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have an exceptional instructor?
Anybody else?
Yeah, my instructor, Alicia Dijon. She's really amazing. I'm in the esthetician program, and she's always understanding, very inspirational, and just, makes you feel like you can do anything, which is amazing.
That's important.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Anybody else, Eagles? I know Dr. Umphrey's been on with us almost for an hour, and I didn't want to keep you all too long, but I definitely wanted to bring our president to our students because that's all she does. When we're on campus, she has this open door policy. You can come by, you can come see her, peep your head in the door. That is what she's about. She comes down to student life and sits there and talk with our students in our student area. So I definitely wanted to be able to still bring some of that kind of feel to our students again, even though we are, miles and moons apart. Eagles, I want to thank you all. I thank you all for still participating with student life and being a part of our SGA and sending in these questions. We love it. We love that we're keeping you engaged, that you still want to be engaged with us, and that we'll be back soon. We will see you all soon. And for my students who are coming in, who are going to get those Eagle points, please believe I am giving y'all those Eagle points for today for being a part of our town hall so you can redeem them. Some of you all have been in events from Tuesday all the way up until today. I'm just going to call out Miss Audrey. She's cool. She's been with us. She's sick with student life. She's like our #1 supporter. So I want to just say thank you, Miss Audrey, for coming into all of our events. Eagles, if you need anything, Dr. Umphrey is always there. If you could put your email address, maybe Dr. Umphrey, in the chat, that way they can grab it. She'll put her email address in the chat. If you have a question that you may not have wanted to ask today, please send her an email and she will get back to you. If you need anything from student life, from me as your student life coordinator, we are here. We have some things coming through the pipeline just for our Northeast students. And I just want you all to stay tuned, stay locked into your email, stay locked into Eagle Experience, hccs.presence.io. And thank you all so much. We miss you. You are Northeast family, and we can't wait to see you face to face.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Umphrey and everyone.
Thank you.